Night Queen.
Hello, Dr. Umar. How are you? I'm good.
I'm well. Where you joining us from, sis?
I'm joining from Toronto. I don't know if you remember me. I actually talked with you about colorism on your Instagram Live.
I thought that was you. Yes. I remember you, Goddess. I remember you. Now, you would be light skinned. Are you also mixed race, Sister Bella?
Yes.
Okay, good.
My mother's black.
Your mother's black and your dad is?
White.
Okay. What's his nationality?
Portuguese.
Got you. Okay. So you are the first mixed race sister to speak. And I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but I do need you to educate the rest of us about the unique challenges of being mixed race and also some of the assumptions and rumors that we may have heard that is not true in terms of mixed race think they're better or mixed race really want to be white. They only black when it's convenient. They have it a lot easier than the rest of us because they're half white. Speak to some of the challenges you have had being mixed race inside the black community.
It's funny because I actually agree with a lot of those assumptions, and I'll explain why. First of all, I think it's multifaceted. I think it depends on what community you grew up in. For me, I grew up in a 90% white community, so I was always considered black like everyone else. We call the N-word, all those things. So for me as a child, I didn't recognize those differences until I'm 20 years old. So until I got to university and I was around other black people, I understood the privileges of being light-skinned and also being biracial, especially in the dating space, which we talked about a bit. I noticed that a lot of black men would approach me and say things that were not directly colorist, but they would make undertones that were disrespecting dark-skinned women. And when I would confront them about that, they say, oh, it's just a preference. And then I would just be like, okay, well, my preference is to delete and block you. Because I don't want to be associated with anyone who has those types of thoughts. And I think a lot of light-skinned women do a disservice when they are not honest. Yes. And they're not honest about these preferences, because you know you're dating a guy and he only likes you because you're light-skinned, because you're exotic, because you're a yellow bone, all these things. Wow. But you don't want to admit that to yourself because your whole life you've been put on a pedestal because you're biracial. For me personally, I know a lot of my cousins who are biracial. Their white mother has told them their entire life, you're unique. You're unique because you're biracial. You're unique. No one will like you because everyone's going to be jealous of you because you're biracial. So that inside of them creates a superiority complex, right? And I'm not generalizing. Once again, I'm speaking from a personal experience being biracial. This is something I've observed compared to other biracial people. When they grow up, now that they have the superiority complex ingrained by their mother and their father, they come into society, and with that superiority complex, they don't recognize the colorism they can benefit from. And I'm just saying this specifically for light-skinned biracial people, because obviously biracial people can come in all colors and all shades, and some biracial people you can't even tell are biracial, right? So, but specifically coming from my experience as a light-skinned biracial woman, I think a lot of biracial women and light-skinned women in general do a disservice when they don't acknowledge, especially in the dating scene, those privileges. So I actually agree with a lot of the misconceptions that people think that biracial people think they're better. I actually do think that they think they're better because they literally grew up with a parents or society or their community telling them that they're better and they're more unique than everyone else because they're biracial. So I think it's multi-layered. Like Dr. Umar, the amount of black men I have blocked and stopped talking to romantically because they have said colorist things is actually sad and disgusting. It's been a handful, especially at university. You know, you're surrounded by black athletes, all these black men. And even at parties I would go to, I would be the one approached, and my other lighter skinned friends would be approached, and they would say comments that are very they're not directly colorist, but they're comments about my skin tone or my hair.
What are some of the comments, Queen, that you've heard from the brothers?
It's I don't even know. More about me being yellow, or I don't know. It's not directly oh my God, you're so light, I want to date you. Not like that. Mm-hmm. But it's more oh, you got that skin tone, your hair is and they wouldn't say those same things to dark-skinned women, so I knew it was kind of like a difference, like a prejudice thing, a colorism thing. I could just feel it. It's hard to explain, but I think a lot of the black women in this room probably know what I'm talking about. It's, you can feel the energy, like when you're in a group of girlfriends and the guys only approach the light-skinned women. You guys, I feel like a lot of black women can, I don't know if you guys can vouch for that, but I feel like you guys know what I'm talking about when you can feel the difference in how they talk to you and how they compliment you. And it just doesn't sit right with me. And because I've done so much blackness, like work within myself, like featurism, like I've done that work inside myself, so now I recognize what it was. But when I first came to university and I was getting all this attention from black men, I was like, oh, like, I've never got this attention in my life, because growing up in the white community, like, the white men were checking for me, so I never experienced this amount of attention from men. So although it was quote-unquote good attention, because there was a lot coming towards me, the quality of that attention was not good, because I didn't associate with them anymore after they said those comments.
Wow. Earlier, one of the sisters said that she felt black men have a large part of the responsibility to bear as it relates to the colorism amongst women, because we often overlook the dark-skinned sisters for the light-skinned women. In your opinion, is that true, and how intense is it?
I think the blame is, I think it's actually 50-50. I think it's light-skinned women not checking their boyfriends or their partners who say colorist things in front of them, and they don't check it because they're your boyfriend and they're with you. But if it was the reverse, you would say something, because if it was prejudice against a light-skinned person, you would say something. But because it's a dark-skinned woman and it's not you, you don't think it's, as big of a deal. So I think it's half light-skinned women and half black men to stop having skin tone preferences. I really don't understand skin tone preferences at all. I think if you're attractive, you're attractive. I don't understand how you can find you can select a whole bunch of light-skinned people. Like, some light-skinned people are trash, so you're going to date them just because they're light-skinned. I never understood that at all. I think that's disgusting. And personally, for me, one of the things I do now, Dr. Umar, is when I talk to a man, I look at his dating history. If they're all one shade, I'm not dating him, period. That's how serious I am about this, because people don't understand. It is so serious. If you can't date a reflection of yourself, if you can't date a reflection of your mother, your sister, your aunt, I don't want to date you, period. And I don't want to be associated with you. And a lot of people ask me, a lot of black men ask me, that seems too harsh. Everyone has preferences, but you don't understand. Like, I don't want to be raising coon children and be with a coon, period. Like, wait a minute. She's 20, Doc. Can you hear this?
Yeah, brilliant.
I've had to do so much work, like unlearning all of this stuff that no one teaches me. And kudos to my parents, but they didn't teach me these things. Like, I was raised to, kind of be colorblind and love everyone. And that's amazing. That's great. You should love everyone. But guess what? There's also harsh realities that you have to face. And I think a lot of biracial people, I'm not going to put it 100% on them. I think it's the parents. Because once again, like I said earlier, if you're raised to be on a pedestal, if you're raised that your parents are telling you you're unique, don't like people, they're just jealous. If they tell you something, they're just jealous. If you grew up with that, then of course you're going to think you're better than everyone else. So I think it's parents, I think it's black men, I think it's light-skinned women. All of those contributors are the problem, to be honest. And I think we need to take more accountability and stop sugarcoating things. Like, I'm telling you, Dr. Umar, if I see your dating history, if you only date one shade, if you only date a certain type of racially ambiguous type of look, I'm not dating you. Like, that's it. That's it. No ifs or buts.
Let me ask you this, Sister Bella. How has life been for you relating to the white side of your family? And I'm asking you this because I've dated mixed race sisters, and I remember one in particular who was in the Garvey movement with me. This is nearly 20 years ago, and she would tell me stories of how her white aunts and uncles would say derogatory things about her. They would talk about her nappy hair. She told me of how they would buy Christmas gifts for the white grandkids, but the black grandkids would get nothing. Like, I remember her crying as she recounted some of the experiences that she had. And all white people are not created equal in terms of the way they treat their mixed race relatives. But I'm just wondering if you had to experience any type of discrimination from the Portuguese side of your bloodline.
To be honest, it's kind of unique because all of my family, like my Portuguese family, live in Portugal, so I haven't really interacted with them. But what my mother told me before they got married is that my Portuguese grandma, was very much against the marriage. I think she just, obviously all white people are racist, which I 100% agree with. And Dr. Umar, we've had our private conversations of me confronting my white father being racist and stuff. And it's funny because once I confronted him, he realized all of the things he said across the years. And I told him, I said, you are equaling racism with hatred. Obviously, you don't hate your black kids. Obviously, you don't hate your black wife. But guess what? You have no problem with white people being in charge in this world. You have no problem with the white privilege you maintain. And the things you say shows that to me. And that means racism. Like you say, Dr. Umar, racism is not racial hatred always. You don't have to hate someone to be racist. Look at all our white supremacists in history who had black children. But they're still white supremacists. Like, it doesn't matter if you have a black child or not. You can still hold those beliefs.
The slave masters slept with their Africans. They slept with them.
Exactly. And for people to say, let's make more biracial children to end racism. Did they end racism? I'm confused because interracial marriage has been legal since 1968. Has racism gone away? That doesn't even make sense. That's a stupid comment. Anyone who says that, please check them. Like, that is a dumb comment.
Well said.
In terms of the Portuguese family, unfortunately, I don't have that much interactions with them. But I knew they were against my mom's marriage, like in the beginning. But then now, it's not as, I've never personally experienced anything from them. But I do want to talk about what Sean said earlier. I'm half Jamaican as well, and I 100% agree with you. The colorism in Jamaica, oh my God. It is like, they are so much, they have like quadroons, octoroons. They divide colorism like by even like within light skinness. It's like, it's crazy. And I know people who have bleached their skin. Like, it is. And obviously that happens everywhere in the diaspora. I'm not just saying it's exclusive to Jamaica, but I 100% agree with what Sean was saying earlier about the Jamaican politics with colorism. 100% true. Sorry, I went a little tangent there.
Oh, that's okay, Queen. I appreciate them comments, Sister Bella. I'm hoping you can come to the second annual FDMG Festival on September 10th.
I think there's not a lockdown, hopefully not.
Oh, yeah.